This is Shadowcast Radio.
Welcome to another episode of Shadowcast Radio. I'm your host, Owen Brasington.
Preston Ackerman.
I'm Nathan Brasington.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, man. Preston, where did you come from?
The real Preston, please stand
I
up.
said I was Preston Ackerman.
You do have a beard, so it's
That is true.
the most
Yeah.
Preston out of everyone
Preston-esque.
here.
Very Preston-esque.
Yeah.
A
Makes
little
it
bit
authentic.
thinner though.
So we got some new folks here. Hey, you
New
I'm
folks,
not- I'm
literally.
not- yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we'll get there. I'm not Owen, actually. Surprise, surprise. I know I sound just like him. This is Andrew Kneeland. I've been a part of this podcast for a long time. I do a lot of the music, and I've been on a few times.
Yeah.
But
You do a lot of the arting.
the arting. That's what I do. And we still have Preston left over. Nathan and Owen are not here this week.
Yeah, we decided to give him a break. Because this guy's been working
Go enjoy
hard.
your Mother's Day.
It's a really kind way of putting it.
It's a week-long celebration, friends.
Enjoy Mother's Week.
Mother's Week.
Mother's Day week.
So even though we don't have the usual crew with us, we decided to bring on some other friends of ours
Yeah.
and or family.
And or family.
So we
Both.
have
Both.
Aaron who?
Aaron Folks.
Aaron Folks.
Yeah.
You give us
How are you?
Yeah. Well, you know me. I'm just a good all-around dude. Was a mechanic, been a brother, an uncle.
Bearded guy.
guy, and recently Christian rock star. So, I mean, there's that.
Accused as a Christian rock star.
Accused as a Christian rock star.
Exactly.
And then
Aaron's been a great guy. I just got to say, I've known him for a few years. He comes to our church, part of one of our core families in the leadership and in the body. He's a wonderful guy. He's actually, we'll get into this probably a little bit later because we all are a part of a new band, a new group. We're a band.
That's
We're a
right.
band.
And so Aaron is our. We call him the Golden Pipes. He's got a wonderful voice.
Beautiful voice.
You'll probably be able to notice as we go along. Maybe you can sing us a little solo. Or something.
You just have to hold on.
If you
to
ever
your
need to
seats.
break out in song, just go for it.
I will. I will
No
not
shame.
hesitate.
We'll
So we
just-
also have onto the show though.
my brother Caleb.
Caleb Kneeland.
Hello.
Hey, welcome to the show, Caleb.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you.
How are you?
Good.
Doing well?
I am.
So
Thank
Caleb's
you.
contributed to the show. He built our table.
I did. It's true.
Dude,
Turned out
how
nice.
long
Worked
did you
on-
work
We're
on
just
this?
spilling drink everywhere, but it's
quite
fine.
a bit. Well, I made
little
the
rude.
table surface so it was resilient
fine.
and
No,
could
it's cool.
handle it.
Thanks.
You know.
You worked hard on this thing. It's a work of art, man.
Thank you.
I'm really, really impressed. I love this is the first time I've actually seen it in the studio and it functions perfectly. Like it's almost like it was made to fit.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So I'm Caleb Kneeland. I do carpentry and I put indoors and windows and I do all around good guy construction.
You
work, could
also
call
are a
it.
potter as well, though.
Correct. Yes.
And I
dabble
hear
in
that
pottery.
you're an avid bow hunter and
I am.
outdoorsman.
I am an avid archer.
Outdoorsman?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hunter.
I gotta say this too,
Extremely avid.
Caleb. You are the most knowledgeable just person on outdoor products.
Outdoor gear,
Yeah,
yes.
He's the gearhead.
Yes.
It's true.
It was funny. We were on
Yeah.
a trip and we stopped in Lander, Wyoming, and this nice spot that was sold outdoor gear. And
Caleb sold the salespeople.
the
their own
salesman came
stuff.
up to
Yes.
Caleb, and Caleb starts selling the salesman all the products he should be selling.
rack by rack and department by
So
department.
let's check out your shoes.
I was like, now let's see what you got going on over here with this shoe department.
Yeah.
Huh, since we covered the
Oh.
backpacks.
Yeah. Were you impressed with what they had? in
I
stock?
was actually. They oh man, I forget the name of the store, but
It's
they
called
they
the-
were-
Wild
they were-
Iris.
Wild Iris.
Wild Iris. Yeah, they had a great selection of things. Obviously, they had a bunch of good stuff, and I was thoroughly impressed. Yeah, and so I love actually. I would almost say I'm not going to say it, but I would almost come so close as to say I enjoy learning about the gear almost more than being outside. Almost
Hey,
more.
at least you're being
It's
honest.
a- it's like
Avid
a-
rock climber.
It's
Yeah.
a 50-50. Yeah.
Let's prove it right now, Caleb. What is the best backpack that I could buy? Let's say I'm going to go up in the mountains. And
If you want to haul out like 200 pounds of elk meat,
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be up there for a week.
A week. Okay.
What are we talking about? What can I get?
I don't know. Like, what's your preference?
You mean price range?
Yeah. Like, what's your price range?
Let's say I'm like, I just sold a nice, real big painting, and I got $1,000 to play with.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So
I want top of the line. What are we talking?
man, you can't go wrong with the Kafaru Nargali, I would say.
The Kafaru. I was going to say that.
I was
going to
say the same.
Yeah, I know. I could see it in your eyes.
Yeah, we know.
We all made eye contact and we're like lip syncing. Kafaru
I mean,
Nargali.
everybody knows if you got
Nagari,
$1,000,
obviously.
you're gonna go with the Kafaru Nagari.
Nagari, yeah. Nargali, but
Yeah, okay. That's what we said.
So
Yeah.
that's a wonderful skill to have. I'm not gonna lie. I wish I was smart in that way. That's
Nice. Yeah, I wish. No, Aaron, what's your thing? What do you do?
Oh man, where do I begin? Dirt bikes, off-road vehicles, guns,
Ranching.
How many dirt bikes have you owned?
I own right now 10.
oh my.
What?
And I have owned.
You own 10 dirt
I
bikes?
do, yes.
That's amazing.
I could get them all shined up. Not all of them, but a couple of them. Get them all in that big fireplace room for the winter. Look like a showroom. It's real cool.
man.
Oh.
Dude, I guess, so you live out on a ranch and you have a lot of space to really
yeah.
explore, huh?
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude.
What's the farthest, what would you call your farthest distance?
Expedition?
Yeah.
Not
Like-
shooting wise,
Farthest distance on a dirt bike?
that you're effective with a gun.
Oh,
whoa.
we're
Oh,
switching
all right.
gears
I'm
here.
All right.
I'm switching
Pivot.
gears.
All right.
Pivot.
The farthest
You
distance
said
with the gun
guns.
that I'm effective, like that I would just take off the cuff shots, like with anything, or like
Like, are you-
long range.
No, like long
Like you have an
range.
animal in your sights.
like an animal.
Like
myself.
effective range.
I could hit confidently with my 300 Win Mag every time a 4-inch plate at 800 yards.
Oh my goodness.
What?
4 inches, yeah. And you guys know,
That's-
you've been out
that's-
there.
I've seen you
Yeah.
That's
shoot.
like
I've seen you
8
shoot.
football fields.
It is. You could see, you can see that.
Americans will measure by anything
Yes.
except the metric system.
Exactly. I like that. How many football
That's like
fields is that?
120 washing machines.
more than that, son. More than that. But yeah, no. Back to the dirt bikes though. The furthest. I thought you were going to say, what's the furthest?
That's
thing
what
you
my
might have done?
question
Yeah,
was.
900 miles to Kearney, Nebraska from my house.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, we.
Wow.
Me and my dad got a couple of enduros way back in the day in 2008, just in time for my sister to graduate from her college in Kearney, Nebraska, UNK, University of Nebraska in Kearney.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, oh, we're going to make this an off-road trip. So we
No
did.
way.
We took them all the way down to Rabbit Ears Pass in Colorado, going straight south. And then we looped up around Cheyenne and came all the way in North Platte,
yes.
north and east, all the way into Nebraska.
Wow, dude.
Pretty
I had
fun.
no idea.
What a
900
Oh, yeah.
You're like a completely different person. I
It's- you see
didn't
me-
know you.
You see me through different eyes now, don't
I
you?
know.
I am.
I see you better.
I am like all that is man. What can I say?
Yeah, that's true.
You're like a
All that is
$1,000 backpack.
That's right. That's right.
Well, guys, welcome to the show.
Well, it's an honor to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So we have the unique, I think, providential circumstances that all of us are single people, both reluctantly
We're
and
single men.
unreluctantly. Single men.
Men.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We are single men.
Maybe you can tell with all the things we're talking about.
Should we get the pronouns out of the way right now? I mean, I don't know.
I am
I am he, his, him.
He is him.
one, alone, single.
Uno.
Uno. Uno. Refer to me as Uno. Yeah.
Do you have to put in your like pronouns for dating apps now? Is that, like, a thing?
Dude, I mean, it's everywhere now.
It's
have to do it
everywhere
for
for,
everything.
like Facebook.
You
I
don't
think.
have to.
No, yeah.
I do see like on
kind of a
a
freak
lot of
issue.
social media platforms, people will put their like pronouns.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the thing that when I see that, it instantly turns me off to whatever they have to say.
Yeah,
It's the
man.
thing I instantly
I
judge
put
by.
you in a box
Yeah.
right now.
It's like, oh no, you just got unfriended.
Exactly.
No, actually, I don't think you can do it on Facebook.
Where is that?
I don't. Can you? Wow.
You can put anything in your description. I guess.
Yeah,
I
you
guess
could,
so.
well, yeah, you could do that.
In your profile picture.
yeah.
In your
Whatever.
Yeah, just put it, stick it on your profile picture,
There's a lot.
just so you know.
We just want to get
When you
that
when
out
you
there.
vague
yeah.
book about me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
my
The
pronouns are
online
he
thing
him.
is so weird though. Like I feel like people are never what they seem.
Oh, you
It's
can be
just-
you're so
because
much cooler online.
It's so funny because like
Totally.
I know a bunch of people that I'm like, I see you on the internet or on Facebook or whatever, and I'm like, this isn't the person I know.
This isn't the real you.
Yeah, I'm like it's so funny. Like if people only saw your online presence or whatever. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, that's not you.
Yeah,
Come
your online
on.
persona.
Yeah, it's really funny. Like I'm really good friends actually with a lot of people who I disagree with on a lot of levels. Like if we're talking about the pronoun thing,
Yeah,
like,
oh, yeah.
like very liberal. But I know them and they're good people. And I'm like,
Very
if
kind.
I just saw them on the internet, I'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm like, I think, yeah, that just helps me a lot to be like,
What is it?
let's not.
Is it because they want to fit in, you think? Or
You
It
know,
could be.
It's definitely like the fad. It's
Yeah.
the
It's
socially
like a
acceptable thing to
virtue
do.
signal.
It's a form of virtue signaling.
Let's
I
get
think.
this out of the way real quick.
Yeah.
Have you ever done online dating?
oh shoot, yeah. Dude.
Oh wait,
Yes.
guys, we got some
Yes.
questions here.
Whoa.
Whoa. Okay, I just asked one.
No.
that was a real.
Sounds
one.
like avoiding.
Before
the
we
answer.
actually get into the topic, I feel like
You gotta preface it.
we usually do a show a question of the ep, and because Nathan and Owen aren't on the show, they both wrote up questions for us,
I'm
Oh
so
boy.
scared.
Yeah, we don't know what
and
they
I've
are.
not read them yet. I have them right here,
They're in a
They're
sealed envelope.
Wow.
sealed envelope and just a written
Very
church
intimidating.
church note paper.
I think I
Okay,
recognize that.
Is that sealed with blood?
it's Nathan's question. So who do you want first? Owen, Nathan, you guys pick.
Owens looks intimidating. Let's get it out of the way.
You wanna get Owens
an
first?
Owens
envelope?
looks more official.
Alright.
Yeah,
I'm not
it's
gonna
in a
lie.
sealed
It's in like an
envelope.
envelope.
Yeah.
It's
All
like
right.
got like one of the little windows on it. You can see
Yeah,
it's not.
I feel like we're on a reality show, and they're like, we're gonna find out who got the job or
I feel
who
like I'm
gets
about
kicked
to get
off.
billed.
You're fired.
Are you the father?
Listen to me now.
Oh, this is gonna be great.
All right, let's see here. So this is from Owen. You find out that you are going to die in your next big adventure. How do you choose to go out in style?
Oh, I know exactly.
man.
I'm eaten by a bear. I've told
Bear?
I've told my mom this. Yeah, I'm fighting a bear.
You
with-
told your mom this?
Oh yeah, I'm fighting a bear with a knife, and the bear mauls me, and we both kill each other.
Oh,
That
okay.
is actually really
That
awesome.
actually is pretty-
I like that.
I mean,
Wow.
David just killed the bear, but
Yeah,
that's cool. to
But
die.
I'm not as good as David.
You're not David.
I'm not David. No. So
Do you know that joke, the Matt Chandler joke?
no, I don't.
Dude,
What? What?
Are you even a Christian?
Are you sure that you didn't
It's
just?
it's
It's a
the
reference
David
to-
and Goliath reference to like you're not David.
Oh, you
You're
don't
not
represent.
David.
You don't represent.
You're
David
not
in the
Christ
story?
is David, right? That's the
Okay.
idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Dude, I dig it though. I do. I give you the
Thank
tip
you.
of the hat, the nod.
All right.
That's a
How
good
do
way
you
to
go out in style?
Oh man, I go out in a blaze of glory too. Kind of like Kayla was talking about. You want to go out with your boots on in some capacity,
Yes.
right? So mine would be like
You wouldn't
just
want to go out barefoot.
No,
Never.
like hip. What am I, a hippie? No, thank you. I would want to get like mangled in a nasty like wreck, going 100 miles an hour on a dirt bike,
Oh,
like
on a dirt
around a
bike.
tree or
I
something.
could have
Oh,
guessed
yeah.
Evil
that. I
Knievel.
should've-
Yes,
Kinda
like sailing off a cliffside.
Yeah.
Not on purpose.
That
But it's
would
like
be-
I thought it was a jump, but it was a cliff.
I thought it was.
That's so funny because that is literally
was
the
a
thing
road.
in my head. That's the picture that came into my head is like flying off a cliff.
Dude.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Like not falling, like jumping.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Like,
just
I don't know
just
why. Like,
jumping.
that sounds terrible.
Like you
but
thought
I'm-
you were base jumping, but you didn't have any of the gear.
And then I'm like,
Oops.
trying to fly.
dang
I'm
it.
like, oh, well, Lord, here I come.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to end up going out like choking on ice or something, though.
Oh, that's what I always worry about is like chewing gum in the weight room or something. Bench pressing. Just like,
I've been like alone in my shop before. Like I'm in my gallery and I'm just like, suddenly I inhale food on accident. Like I'm eating. And I'm like, so this is how I die. Alone.
we come down there.
myself.
You stumble out onto the street like help.
I have this annoying habit that I will chew on the caps of bottles.
Oh yeah, I do
yeah.
too. Yeah.
I do that all the time.
I've
So
done
I
that.
oftentimes
used
think to
I
myself,
used to chew.
I could choke on this.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah.
And so anyway,
yeah.
that's not glorious though.
That's
No.
why we're all single.
I do
Yeah.
the same thing with
we
toothpicks.
chew,
With
chew-
toothpick.
Well,
We
That's
chew-
the cool
we chew
thing to do
bottle
though.
caps.
Well, I mean,
like if you have a toothpick, it's like
right.
I'm cool.
I mean, dude,
if you chew on a bottle,
who just told you they did that? Like, I mean, come on. We know that's cool, right? But no, I'm saying same thing though. I get to chewing on that. I'm afraid I'm gonna get like a splinter and like slice my throat from the inside out.
Oh,
ooh,
I hadn't thought of that one yet.
Choke and die on a wood splinter. Think about that one.
No more toothpicks for me.
Mm-mm.
Preston, how about you? What's your blaze of glory?
that's my
Yeah.
Blaze of Glory story.
Actually,
Andrew, you are going with a cliff?
no, I'm not. I just decided to change my answer.
Oh,
because I would
we
love.
can do that.
I would, yeah,
No.
because I would love it if it comes down to I go out like in prison for my faith, like
Oh, way
For
to
the
go.
gospel.
Way to
No,
bring
I'm
it.
not-
Jesus, you.
Yeah,
like-
yeah.
like-
Thank
Okay.
you. That's why I'm single. I'm looking for.
He wants to win a wife from this podcast. Okay.
Come on, work it.
No,
yeah, this is. I honestly,
That's
I've
deep.
thought about that a lot. That I'm like, I would
That's
love
deep.
to be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I would. It'd be so hard, but it would
Yeah.
be like,
Legit.
imagine being tortured for Christ
Oh,
to
dude.
death.
Whoa.
Like to take part in that would be.
Yeah, totally.
That'd be
That'd be the
Oh,
blaze of
shoot,
glory.
yeah,
That'd be a
absolutely.
blaze of glory.
Yeah.
100%.
Top
Preston?
that.
Am I allowed to choose like Elijah who went out literally in a blaze?
Oh,
Like chariot of
wow.
fire?
Dude,
Oh wow.
I like it.
Oh, yeah.
I like it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Wow.
think
I
that'd
don't.
be
I
epic.
mean, good luck with that.
We can pray.
According to the question, I get to pick whatever I want.
The Lord will
And you
grant
did.
you whatever blaze
Ask
you
him,
want.
Yeah, whatever
shall
blaze.
receive, I guess.
I guess so.
That's a good legit answer.
But is
I
it
like
true?
it.
Because does he die? Actually, the scripture is. I don't know if the scriptures talk about if he died or not.
scripture-
He was just
oh.
gone.
He's just like
Who was
ah.
it? Wasn't it Enoch?
So Enoch
Did not die.
walked. It says
It's very-
Enoch
it's
walked
very
with God,
clear.
and then he was not, for God took him.
Yeah.
So what's crazy though too is actually that story about Enoch. A few generations past Enoch, that language walked with God, and it pleased the Lord.
Was used
Noah walks with God
Yes.
too,
Yeah.
and then he doesn't die because he is preserved through the ark, through the waters, which
Right.
Yeah.
is a beautiful picture there to kind of think and consider.
Like it almost makes you think like we should walk with the Lord,
yeah.
like daily.
That might be a, I don't know, solid application.
I don't
of
know.
that
Something I
text.
just
That
thought
is
of.
like direct application.
You're not
right
David,
there.
but you can be Enoch.
Hey, I would take that.
I don't know. I think fire's so interesting. So I don't know. Maybe it would literally be a blaze.
Dude,
I don't know if it'd be
that's
like
gruesome.
if I wanted it to be like this epic story. Maybe I like run into a burning
Oh,
building.
yeah,
to
I
save
like
it,
that.
save
to like,
someone.
To like
save somebody.
save your like favorite picture
and I
hanging on your
like
wall.
threw.
You can't buy that one again. It
Like-
was a Kneeland Fine Arts special.
I know. Yeah. I do have a custom Kneeland fine art painting. Yeah, maybe something like
That's
that.
a great question, Nathan. Thank you.
All right, that was Owen's question.
that was
actually.
Owen's question.
Oh,
Thank you, Owen. Owen, I
Decent
I was
question, Owen.
enjoyed that.
that's what I meant.
Yeah, nice question, Owen.
Very
I wanna hear-
officially
I want to
wrapped,
hear.
too.
I want to hear what their answers would be next step.
I'm very curious.
All right, so now this is a part. Okay, 2-part question. So this is Nathan's question
Okay.
here.
There's one. You're supposed to do one.
They don't follow the
Like,
rules.
I will stretch this.
Okay, let's hear. If you could bring back any fashion trend, what would it be?
Oh my
And then
goodness.
the second part is if you could kill any fashion trend forever, what would it be?
Oh,
What a great question.
That's a great question.
Dude, it's
That's
super
phenomenal.
easy. I would kill like spandex forever. Like all these girls and guys now, everybody just wears spandex pants all the time, like everywhere. So Dana, if you ever hear this, I'm talking to you. No more spandex. And also, I guess like looping that together with spandex is like the buzz cut thing the girls do now, where they like have their
like
hair
they
buzzed.
shave the sides of their hair.
Yeah, let's why. If somebody wants to ever get in contact with me and explain why, feel free. That'd be awesome. But anyway, I would kill those two things, and I would bring back like the big old like Elvis hairdos. You know, just slick them up greasy high, like sticks
Grease
up like a foot off the top of your forehead and just
Yeah.
comb back all slick. Oh yeah,
awesome.
Oh yeah,
That is amazing.
dude. Yeah.
solid. All right, who's next?
I don't know. I'm still pondering mine, man. This
Still
is
pondering
difficult.
yours?
This is a difficult question.
It's a serious
actually.
question.
This
It's
is
a serious
so.
question.
So in recent years, months. I feel like this is maybe a year thing, maybe earlier. There's been a return of the mullets.
Dude,
yes,
that
and
is
it's
true.
awesome.
I'm working on it.
Nate rocks it, dude. Like at our church.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nate kills it.
Nate
but I feel
crushes
like
the
for
mullet.
so many people, it just looks dumb.
I can't.
It just looks so dumb.
Listen, I can't even begin to agree with you more.
I think I'd kill that trend, dude. Mullets?
Agreed.
No. Nate's mullet. Nate, is that a mullet?
I
guess
don't,
it-
you
it's
know,
a
I'll
mullet.
be honest.
It's a
I don't
mullet.
know. Is it?
Is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Nate makes it look cool, but Nate can make anything look cool, I think.
That's a good
So
one.
you
though.
would
I'd kill that.
Would you kill it forever though?
Forever? Yeah.
For everyone?
Yeah.
Dude, unless
Even
you're
for
like
Nate.
one of
Yeah.
those like
Yeah.
WWE
Sorry, Nate.
wrestlers.
Personally
Yeah.
attacked.
You feel personally attacked?
He's working. Look at that. He's working
Kill the
on
mullet.
it.
Come on, guys.
Oh my gosh, that's
It's coming
funny.
in.
What would you-
So that was the okay. I think I actually answered the second
Yeah.
part first.
What would you
If you
bring
could bring back any fashion trend, I don't know, like maybe in the same vein of Aaron's answer, like modesty.
Oh, I could go for that.
Well
Like-
played.
Wow.
Dude. Okay,
I
but
don't know.
here's the deal. Remember on our trip a couple weeks ago, like how crazy was that to see all those long skirts though? Like there was long skirts everywhere you
Oh,
looked
that
over
was
there,
weird.
which was kind of interesting.
Wait,
Yeah.
when we were over
We
there,
were in the city of Lander.
we ate Lander and Riverton, right? Remember?
Oh
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you look to the right, you look to the left. There's somebody
like-
skate. Remember that skateboarding chick?
Yeah.
Didn't miss a
Yeah.
beat.
Oh.
She's skateboarding in her ankle long dress.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was the
It was-
weirdest. I've
it was
never
very
seen
odd.
that.
it
Yeah.
was,
Maybe that's coming back.
dude.
Maybe
Is that
modesty's coming back.
Does fundamental Baptism,
Dude,
fundamental Baptists, are they like, are
Independent
they like independent fundamental Baptists?
You
Are they
will.
taking over Lander and
Dude,
Riverton?
I don't know, but I
I've
saw
heard-
that. I was like, this is like an anomaly. I kind of felt you guys know what I was gonna say, probably. But I was like, did I step into another dimension?
It is
You
a
know what
different
I'm
world,
saying?
dude. It is.
And I was like, wow. So I'm with you. Bring back that modesty.
Modesty. I don't
Bring
know.
back modesty.
I'm not a trends person, dude. I'm a t-shirt and pants dude. I'm not
Yeah.
in the trends, really. I don't know.
Maybe that is a trend and you just don't know it.
It's been
And
around.
what I
for
would
a
bring
long
back
time.
is the pants and t-shirt
Pants
guy.
and t-shirts.
Trend forever.
I feel like I this is funny because I don't ever really do it, but I love like super classy vests and stuff. Like I don't know if that's ever really totally gone out, but I always whenever I see people with vests on, I'm like,
Wow, those hipsters are bringing back, dude.
Oh yeah.
I'm not I like it. I think it's great. I really like it.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's gone or
Hipster
not.
vests. Are you talking
I-
about like the puffy or the like the
Like
leather?
like
Talking about
like
leather,
like a nice
like
vest.
canvas.
I could go for like-
However, how-
Like a nice buckskin, like fringe hanging.
Ooh,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah, any
freshly
of those. Any of
skinned.
those.
Yeah.
Like something without
Freshly
sleeves.
it's just like raw still.
Yeah, that, see now
Oh,
I'm
there's
with
some
you on
meat
that.
still there.
Yeah, save a little
It's
lunch.
from the bear that
You know what-
Caleb killed.
You know what I would kill forever though is bell bottoms.
That's a good
Just
one.
like
Oh.
the pants that
Oh,
just
yeah.
like flare at the bottom. I don't know what it is.
Oh,
I'm like,
true. Those look sick.
Dude,
Those are
one
super
thing
tacky.
that, and don't forget your next piece of your question, but one thing that is coming back is like the Little House on the Prairie things for women. I guess maybe that's kind of what's going on in Riverton, but
What?
like my sister was telling me, and other people have been telling me, like, they don't know what's going on because like all these women's stores, it's like, what is
No
this?
way.
It's like
Really?
$18.99 up in here. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like
Suppose
all
so.
of our answers are like really bashing on ladies' fashion. I'm so sorry.
Which I guess in retrospect to my answer, I'd rather see a 1890s get up than spandex. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Absolutely. Dude, yeah, let's go.
Fair point.
Let's go, Caleb. What's up?
Actually, Aaron mentioned, like let's go with the prairie, like Little House on the Prairie.
Little
Like
House
I
on the
love
Prairie.
that. Let's bring that back. I think that's awesome, and my wish came
would you
true.
take part of that too?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you would.
Well, I mean,
Would you
that would
wear
require like a
like
white
the
button up and
overalls?
suspenders,
What about
and maybe like
A straw hat.
tarmac colored pants kind
Yeah,
of thing.
Yeah,
Bring that
I
back.
mean, sure.
Oh man,
Would you kill the man bun forever?
Oh yeah.
No.
I think I would.
I would.
No.
Yeah, I would
Yeah?
murder the
I've
man bun forever.
I would. I'd
Man
agree.
bunners
Yes,
are
yes.
bad.
What do you
are the
think,
ones-
Andrew?
I'm just really offended.
Andrew is
You're
also
offended for hairstyles you've never had.
he's
Yeah.
also working on his man bun mullet.
I was gonna
man
do
bun on
both.
top, wool on the bottom. You can
It's the
totally do
best
that.
of every
Guys,
world.
Give me 6 months. I'll put you all to shame.
The man bun mullet.
man bun mullet.
Here it
The
comes.
man bun mullet.
Coming
Oh,
to a
man.
city near you.
So, did
So
you,
what would you kill, Caleb?
The man bun. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
absolutely. I don't like man buns. I mean,
What has a man bun ever done to you?
It's dared to be it.
It
If my
had the
hair-
audacity to
had to
exist.
if I don't cut my hair for a really long time, I will like play around.
Don't,
and
Caleb. Don't
wrap
say
it up.
Don't say it.
But
I've
after,
gotten
but
my hair
that's
to
when
the
I
point-
decide it's haircut time.
I can do a French braid down the middle. All the
No
way.
way.
Yeah.
You might be onto a new trend.
I didn't even know about that.
You're gonna invent a trend.
Yeah.
Men's French braids.
Man's French braid.
The braid.
Well, that's a great question.
Wow.
I think that's
Yeah.
good. And we spent
Wow.
way too much time on that. So
mean,
thank you.
But can you spend too much time on such a good question? I don't know.
I don't know. We've all come together here as a bunch of single guys.
Single Pringles.
Singles,
Pringles.
obviously experts in dating. So.
Yeah, so we're
Most
here to
So we got rid of the married folks, so we can talk about.
so we
dating.
can like share our knowledge,
They
immense amount of dating knowledge
Yeah.
with you.
Just remove all the people who were successful.
Yes, because they're just in the way.
They're just in the way.
So we want this.
Life is filled with too many success stories anyway, right?
Yeah,
Am I right?
yeah.
Like, come on, that gets so
Come on.
boring.
Amen.
So in actuality, obviously we like to have fun. We like to make jokes. But for this episode, we wanted to. We just have this unique time here in our church where we have, all of us as friends, as single men who love the Lord. I thought it would be fun to bring everyone on to the show so we can just talk a little bit about the topic of singleness, really from a biblical perspective, and also maybe just talk about our own personal experiences about dating, why we're still single, what does the Bible have to say about relationships and marriage, and so there's a lot to talk about, and I think we should get started.
Wait, I wanted to get an answer because I felt
Let me
that was
answer your
avoided.
question with another question.
What was avoided?
The avoided question was: Have you ever attempted online dating?
Oh, dude.
Because that's what everyone
it's all the
says
rage.
to you. It's
That's
like
the
you're
rage.
like, hey,
Christian singles.
Are you dating anyone
Christian
right
mingle.
now? And I'm like, no. And they're like, have you tried online dating?
Yeah. Well, isn't it funny how you were just mentioning before about how just in social media and online that way anyway, like people aren't
People
who
can
they even
change
really
who
are.
they are.
Yeah.
So why would you want to go into that realm? Like, it's funny.
It seems a little
Yeah.
a little tough.
I'll be honest and transparent. And be like, yeah, I've attempted those things before, and it's never been a successful thing. I know people who that is a success story for, and I'm not saying it's the worst, and I'm not saying it's never going to work, but for me, that experience was so weird. I don't know how else to say it.
So I've done it as well.
You have a few
I've-
profiles. You want to tell us what you're on?
What's your handle?
What are my handles?
What's your handle, big guy?
I will digress. But I mean, so I've tried it, right? And I think what Andrew's saying is that there is a certain sense where it dehumanizes people because you are just looking at a bunch of profiles. You're not actually interacting with people. And you're just like, ugh,
and you're judging people in a split second.
Oh yeah,
and it feels really weird.
It's be like it's actually quite crass.
especially for like I know there's
Swipe left.
Christian
Swipe
ones
left.
that are like upward
Swipe
or
left.
whatever.
What
Swipe left.
does swipe left mean? Does that mean reject?
Yes.
Reject.
Oh,
Yes.
And you
So
never
swipe
see
left
them
is
ever
reject.
again. And it's like it's the weirdest thing. You're like, I saw one picture of this person, and I'm like, no,
Like unfit swipe.
yeah. And it's I know like something about that just Caleb hit the nail on the head. It's like you lose sense of like
It is.
this is a real person, and like you're
Yeah,
the
it's good.
person I'm going to marry is not someone that's going to be check every single box and be a queen in every single way. I mean, like I'm looking for a trophy. I'm not going to lie. Like,
yeah.
but the person I'm marrying is not going to be like the ideal
The facade.
perfection that I make in my brain.
Right.
Like I'm not, and I think sometimes those online things are really like feeding into that for men, especially that like, I'm just waiting for someone to just like check all the boxes.
Yeah.
And eventually it'll come up.
Yeah, and instantly find that out, like
Yeah.
on 2 seconds worth of looking at a
you're
page
like,
or something. Yeah,
the girl in my head doesn't exist.
right, right. That's good. It kind of cheapens it.
Yeah.
Kind of like devalues.
And it removes all sparks. I feel like anything where you're suddenly like, ooh, like who is this? Suddenly it's just like
Oh.
it's just it's just
Who's
all
she?
But then
all
you see your
gone.
pronouns and you're like, no. No.
Well, if it's
You're like,
she,
this was
her,
a Christian dating site.
You're like, I still swipe left.
I gotta tell you guys. I think I mentioned this story earlier, but for the listeners' sake, I teach a lot of painting classes for kids. One of my favorites is just the age range of about 8 to 12 years old, and I've got one girl that comes to one of the classes, and she's about 10 years old, and she grew up in the South, so she's got a thick Southern accent. And she's absolutely convinced, like, that she's gonna find me a wife. That she was just mortified when she heard you're single. I've had like 10 boyfriends, and so she's like, Andrew, listen. So let me get my Southern accent. So you're gonna need to follow 2 pieces of advice. Listen. It's gonna work.
Listen.
Listen. always acknowledge their beauty. They want to be beautiful. Women want to be beautiful. You have to notice their beauty. Okay. Number 2, eye contact. Always make eye
She's
contact.
10 years old.
Yeah. Don't
Nice.
stop making eye contact. So we've got the acronym down. It's ARBAEC. Always remember beauty and eye contact.
ARB.
So
what I can remember.
this girl?
Yeah, that's what I want to meet her.
So I come back to
I want to take some lessons.
yeah. She's like, so did it work? And I'm like, no. She's like, did you remember? Always remember beauty and eye contact.
That's awesome. Always remember beauty and eye contact. I love that.
Let me just make a quick note of that.
Yeah. So our RIB, I can't remember.
And I think that's the problem with online dating is you can't have real eye contact.
Oh, that's true.
It's true.
That's true.
That's true.
That's legit.
Well, the weird thing about online dating too is like you might see these pictures that they've put on there because they put on there for a reason, like because that's like anything that's going to be your best moment. Like you on purpose took these pictures, but like if I just saw you in the store or somewhere in reality, would I ever want to come and talk to you like in reality? You know what I mean? So like, there's a lot of that false like
brushed up
Photoshop.
Photoshop.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, right.
Totally.
They
We
do
always
put-
want to present the best version
and men
of
are going to do the
ourselves.
same thing.
Yeah,
too.
100%.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
It's the nature of the game, right? It's like it's just how it works is that you do put your best foot forward. You're like I'm not going to put this picture of me like crossing my eyes and this selfie with my dog.
The real
or whatever.
you.
Yeah, the real me.
Well,
It's like,
that's
I'm not gonna
exactly
put
right.
this
Though,
on.
like, and it's not something that you can really capture. That's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
you can't capture a person's personality or the way they sound right off the bat. Like, if I can't hear your voice right off the bat, that to me tells me like a lot. Right at getting to know somebody, it's like you can't have that connection. In a first time meeting on an online
you can't
sense.
tell right away. Like for me, like absolutely, the biggest thing is I just want someone who's sold out for Jesus and love for Jesus, and there's no way to like get that in that virtual way.
Right. In a bio, because you could say anything in a bio.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, certainly. It's in the face-to-face interactions that you really can, I think, build up the best discernment for learning about a
and
person.
good and bad too, because it's
For
like
sure.
I don't want to waste my time and I don't want to waste your time. So if it takes us like days of messaging back and forth or whatever it is, just for me to find out, like I would have never even spent more than a hey, hello, how are you kind of thing if I would have met this person under normal circumstances.
And
like,
that's
what a waste.
why my view on like online dating is like if you're gonna do it, don't make it very serious. Make it a fun thing. Make it something that is just like
Very casual.
Make it casual because if you take it so seriously, like you'll end up crashing and burning over and over again because you took it too seriously. It's the online thing does not provide what you need to know,
right?
In a person
on its own.
Yeah.
Like certainly God has used it to like grant marriages between godly folks, and we even know some stories like that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and also just something to keep in mind too is it's like it's not a bad thing. I mean, good grief, I've done it. Like it's not something bad, but I definitely I don't know. I just feel like a word of caution. Like it's not something that is for everyone, and it definitely. I don't think it fulfills the necessary things for a relationship for 90% of the population.
Yeah. And you're going to run into a lot of
weirdos,
people who aren't in prairie dresses.
Yeah, people are
just that alone.
Yeah, you have to be on,
sometimes
on like
super
disturbing.
guard. Yeah,
you have to be on your guard purity wise and just be like, just
not
sharp.
something to do without accountability.
No, absolutely not.
No, that's good.
No, that's good. And so something I think that the Christian church has done, and I think it comes from a place of wanting to honor the Lord, and it's from a noble intent. But I've noticed just even in my experience, there's a major push to try to get single people married, as if quick.
It's it's a
there's
necessity.
problem.
Yeah,
singleness is
you're
sickness.
single,
right? Like what's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like why aren't you trying?
Exactly.
And so funny story. This has even kind of creeped into some of the younger folks. Apparently, even with in our own church too. I remember a few years back, one of the kids, we were camping, and kids are perceptive. They look and they see there's pairs of twos all around.
Yeah.
But Preston's always by himself. So he comes up to me. It's Garrett. Garrett comes up to me and he's just like, "Are you married?"
As a matter of fact,
I'm like, "No, I'm not." He's like, why?
Yeah, like what's going on here?
I'm just like, well, the Lord is just
you didn't know
withheld
your
marriage from me.
acronym.
Yeah, I didn't know my pronouns at the time. But, no,
No, you forgot beauty and eye contact.
I forgot beauty and eye contact. I said, and he said, I'm praying for you.
yeah. It's like,
oh,
Best response.
Preston has a
Yeah.
problem. I'm going to pray for him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And while I think we ought to, as Christians, hold marriage in very high esteem,
Yeah.
and that we know that, Paul talks about it being, a mystery that points to the gospel. It's a
Yes.
picture of the gospel. And then we are called to hold it in high esteem, to honor it, absolutely. But there is a place in God's economy for the single person.
Absolutely.
For singleness.
For singleness.
Yeah.
Even as a perpetual thing where there's a specific kind of people that are built with the, desires or lack thereof to be able to sustain their singleness in a God honoring way. But even for those who desire marriage, there are times of singleness, and we are to honor Christ in those.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And to not treat marriage in that or a relationship or any of that as this constant pursuit that
Right. Like
becomes-
the end all
becomes
be
an
all.
idol.
As an end of
Exactly.
it in and of
yeah,
itself.
that you're just like,
Yeah.
oh, this is the thing
Exactly.
I need,
Right.
and you're like forgetting that to live for
Right.
Christ now. Like
Right.
this is the season for you to be doing things
That's exactly
that a
right.
single person can do that a married person doesn't have the opportunity to.
100%.
Yeah, and one of my quote, a quote I love, is from Gary Thomas. He wrote a wonderful book that's dramatically influenced how I think about dating, and just how I think about the single life and everything. Is he says he's like, is God waiting for you to get your house in order? Maybe, like, is he like, are you spiritually like prepared for
marriage.
for marriage and for
Yeah.
being with someone? And it's like, I was like, it's something that impacted me.
Something
and
to think about.
Yeah, I was. It kind of just like was dropped on me, and I was like, oh, whoa. And so every day I try to do something that like puts my house a little more in order. Even if it's just something little, I'm just like, how much more can I get closer? How much more can I be
ready?
closer to God?
Yeah.
Be better in my relationships. I'm just trying to like chisel away at that because I'm like, is that why God is having me in this season? Is He wants me to grow? And this is the only way that growth is possible.
Yeah, is to sanctify you through it. So
that's good.
we have this promise
That's a good
Peter
thought.
talks about in 2 Peter 1 verse 3. He says, his divine power has granted to us all things that pertain to life and godliness through the knowledge of him who has called us to his own glory and excellence. So all things that pertain to life and godliness is already granted to us. And it's the knowledge of Christ.
That's right.
And so like in God's economy, there are a set apart single set. There is a unique set apart people who are not married, and God has granted to them all things that pertain to life and
100%.
godliness.
And there's
Amen.
And while marriage has a point to it,
Oh,
like
absolutely.
a sanctifying point to it, and it points to the gospel,
Right.
it doesn't make the single person an oddity.
Yes,
And
exactly.
you
right.
shouldn't be walking around as a single person thinking about how much you're missing out. All things that you need for life and godliness
Missing out. That's well said, man.
is that it's in Christ.
Yeah.
Like all the joy, like if you will be more happy being married, you're missing the point.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
If you think I just need this in order to be happy,
Oh, dude,
be like,
that's
because
That's good.
your satisfaction and your joy,
Yeah.
if it's not now, it's not going to be.
It's
when
not gonna
you're
be then.
married.
Right.
well said. That is one of my biggest pet peeves. Maybe it is a theological pet peeve. Is when I hear people congratulate a recently married set of folks. Oh, I'm so happy for you, as if like you had. And obviously, marriage is meant to be, but you found your happiness now.
Like your singleness was a problem.
Singleness was a
that needed
problem,
fixed.
and now your
Right.
husband will will make you happy.
Because if you're a chasing after joy before you're married, you'll be chasing after joy after you're married. Like,
Yeah.
it's not going to fill your soul
Right.
Yeah.
the way that
That's
Christ
good.
can.
Marriage doesn't fix problems.
Well,
God
and
does.
it's like you were saying, Preston. I mean, a lot of these, I'm sure it's always been like this since all of time, but a lot of churches and a lot of the, older ladies in the church, especially, I mean, I feel like it almost becomes like an idol to them, the idol of marriage pursuits and like, what am I looking for here? Like, matchmaking and all that kind of thing. And it's like, even for some just younger single people, I think like we were talking about, that becomes the end all be all. Like I never saw in the Bible where it says like, accept Jesus into your heart and then instantly, if you're not married, you're in sin. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not, it is something that we should respect and revere and pursue if God allows it
Yeah.
within his ordered structure and his time frame. But
His
it's not like
timing.
my life is not focused on I have to be married by next month, or you know what I mean. Like you know what I'm saying.
right.
Like I'm living out my life in accordance with God's will for His honor and glory, the
right.
best that I can,
Yeah.
and whatever His plan is what I'm looking for. Like you said it, and it was perfect. Like if you're not already in a solid relationship with Christ and finding that fulfillment now, then you need to work on that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I've just been to churches where it's like people, it seems like, you know, are you coming to church to find a husband or wife? Or are you coming to church because you want to grow and find the Lord? You know what I'm saying? And like that becomes a fine line where it's like, you know, I've had those younger years where it's like, yeah, I'm just chasing these ladies and that's
Chasing
where the
the
best
lettuce.
ones are. And I had to get over that. And, you know, like that's that growing time in your own life. But I mean, it seems like some people never grow out of that. You know what I'm saying?
That's like one of my the passages that I was looking at earlier is Proverbs 18:22 says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord."
Yeah.
It's interesting that both those things are there.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
there's a discovery and a search, and the Hebrew word for that is matzah. It's literally like used to like discover or to find or to locate. Sometimes like to overtake something.
Dude,
So
yeah.
like once you've discovered, like he who discovers a wife has discovered a good thing.
Yeah.
And obtains favor from the Lord. Like that's God's gift to you.
Absolutely.
And it's a both, like it's not saying like
It's like
don't
cherry
go-
on top.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not saying don't go look for ladies. Like absolutely.
Right.
Like, my eyes are open.
Yeah.
I
did.
Yeah. But I'm also knowing that in a way, like it's favor from the Lord. Like
Absolutely.
it's grace to find a wife.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
That-
also, the Bible
well said.
doesn't say seek first marriage, and then all these
Yes,
things will be
thank
added to
you.
you. It
Dude,
says
that's
this
well
is
said.
another
Are you sure?
Gary Thomas quote that I love, where he says it in jest, where he's like, "Seek marriage first, and then all these things will be added to you." And it's like,
Well
no,
played.
seek Christ first, and then all these things will be
That's
added
well
to
said.
you. And so that's where that's kind of where my mentality comes in
Absolutely.
of just seeking Christ, is where I'm just like,
Dude.
ooh, I'm gonna see Christ. My eyes are open; they ain't shut. But good grief, I'm
Yeah.
going after Christ.
Right. Like you're not going to center your life on finding a wife and that's it. Like no other goals in life, no other ambitions, no other like pursuits. You know what I'm saying? I love that. I love what you said. It kind of reminds me, one thing I was thinking of was Paul in 1 Corinthians 7:32 says, "A unmarried man is concerned about the Lord's affairs, how he can please the Lord." And he goes on talking about an unmarried woman is concerned about the Lord's affairs. Her aim is to be devoted to the Lord in both body and spirit. And then further on down, he says, "I am saying all this for your own good, not to restrict you in any way, but that you may live in a right way in an undivided devotion to the Lord." Like marriage is a and more thing, not a end all be all thing, you know?
Yeah. Man, well said. And what's fascinating too, just about that passage there, is that Paul is legitimizing even his own ministry in singleness, and that single people have a particular ability that married folks do not have, in that they can devote more of their time toward not pleasing their spouses, but now in ministry and in pleasing the Lord. So there's a good and godly end and reason why God might perpetually have someone be single for His own glory. Ultimately,
I agree.
And so, but even also too, in the midst of, say, that can be categorically, like we recognize that there can be a categorically single people who are perpetually single, like Paul, and then there are people who are temporarily single for a season. But I don't think then one person is sanctified differently than the other.
No,
like what you said, Andrew.
Yeah.
You have to be satisfied in the Lord.
That's right.
In fact, like what's most attractive to me is a godly woman who loves Jesus more than me.
Amen.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing
That's
that I
exactly well
find
said.
way more beautiful.
And that's what, like, I mean, I want a woman who's going to make me want to be a better Christian and want to, like, that I am inspired by, who's like holding me accountable, obviously an accountability partner, everything like that. But somebody that I look at and I think, man, you're going to push me to be better for Christ, and we will be better and have a better witness and have a better testimony together than we do apart. And if we don't, then I don't want anything to do with that. You know what I'm saying? But it's that diamond in the rough, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think something for me too is that just how I totally agree with all those things as well. But I think an important thing, and this is kind of been drawn out with my experience in trying online dating and doing that and being like, that was a season, you know, and I think something that came out of that was like, man, I really want a friend. You know, I want a buddy.
Absolutely.
You know, like that's something I'm seeking. Like,
Ugh,
like
buddy.
first. It's like, yeah. It's
That's
like
Preston's favorite word. I hope you
Is
know
it
that.
really?
Least favorite word.
Hey, bud.
I'm
kidding.
just,
Go ahead.
that's just like
Caleb
my
loves
pursuit.
buddy.
I do, but that's just what I'm like, for me, I'm like, man, I just want to like find someone who's like,
A friend.
just wants to be a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. First. And
Yeah, you'll
then
be
like,
closest to.
and like,
Yeah.
and that's how I hope the Lord works.
Well, yeah, and I think that is how it's meant to be.
Yeah.
I mean, because something that's interesting too, and this is from a theological standpoint, we know that marriage points to the gospel. We will be eternally married to Christ as the church collective. And what's fascinating too is Jesus talks about us being his friends. Like, no longer do I call you master,
Yeah.
but like, because a master has no dealing with his servants, and so
Right.
we're his friend. And I think that is meant to be reflected even in the marriage context too. If you're married and you really don't like
Yeah.
your spouse,
Yeah.
like you don't get along,
Yeah.
it's not reflecting the realities of the
Yeah.
gospel
No.
and
No.
union with Christ.
Yeah.
And that's
not.
also the other thing. I think it's easy for single men in our position to often go the opposite direction and bash marriage and bash the idea of being, tied down.
I'm a
Ball
single
and chain.
Yeah, exactly. And that is not our that is not our perspective
No.
as Christian men. Like,
That's right.
we hold marriage in high
Yeah.
regard,
That's right.
and we hold women in high regard, and
Absolutely.
we
That's
we
right.
want to be like that. That is a desire. Like God put the desire for marriage in every human, and I know for me and men, like that's a desire for me. Like
Yeah.
that's something
Yeah.
God gave me,
Mhm.
and I don't want to choke that either.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like God gives you this because it does reflect his glory and the gospel, and it actually perpetuates the kingdom. That's the way that
Mm-hmm.
generations of believers go on, is through this gift of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things is like, I look forward to marriage so much. And I also look forward to being a father.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Amen.
one of
Yeah.
the greatest things that I'm anticipating out of marriage is like, I can't wait to be a dad. Like, and I know that going back real quick, I want to address what Preston was talking about earlier about like the kind of the season of being single. And sometimes it can feel like I'm just going to be perpetually single. Like, this isn't going to end. And I want to just hit on this point that I know if anyone's listening to this, like I just want to encourage you. Like, I know that it seems like a long time, but it's not. Like, there's plenty of people that get married in their 60s. Like,
Yeah.
like, and imagine that they had 60 years of a joyful life in Christ,
Yeah. Absolutely.
or they had 60 years
Of bitterness.
of bitterness
Yeah.
and despising the Lord for not providing that
And
gift.
that's why I think.
I mean, like,
yeah.
it's your choice of how you spend
Exactly.
that time.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is so critical, to have your perspectives right in your own, like what Caleb's saying, your own life kind of figured out, your own house in order, so to speak. Not that you have to have a literal house in order, but
No.
and I hear a lot of people thinking like, because I kind of I used to kid around about it, but like, I'm gonna have all my toys in my house and everything first, like, and then I'll worry about that. Tongue in cheek, kind of. But I mean, some people I think legitimately think, even like when you are married, like and deciding to have kids or not, like, well, we can afford it right now. Like, financial stuff aside, you're never going to be where you want to be when anything in life happens.
Yeah.
But I think what you can and what we should try to be is spiritually where we need to be, and make that our pursuit. Because like we were talking about, how you just mentioned, you could be in your 60s, whatever the case may be. But hopefully you've been leading a life worthy of Christ up to that point anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as we were talking about, that should be, as single men, single women, our pursuit
Yeah.
is to honor and glorify Christ and grow deeper in a relationship with Him and grow into ever deepening maturity in our faith.
Right.
Yeah.
And, and then all these things shall be added unto you. You know what I mean? What a waste it would be if you're just like, got to that point and you were just bitter the whole time because you didn't get married like everybody else in your family did.
Yeah.
And you were,
And that is the weird thing too, is that now in this day and age, like the age of getting married is like way later than it used to be, say,
Right.
100 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the case across the board almost.
Yeah.
Like, most people are getting married much later, and I don't have a cultural comment to make on that, other than that I think it's interesting.
it is interesting. Yeah.
And it makes me feel better because
Well, and I think a lot of
Everybody
that's
else is
kind of
in
like
that
what we
boat.
were talking about
Yeah.
it before, even about the online dating thing and just the online life that the culture
Yeah.
lives in.
Yeah.
You can't do anything that requires everything that marriage requires from a phone or from a computer. You know what I'm saying? Like we're creating such cultural gaps anyway in our society. Yeah. Now you don't even have to go into the store to get your groceries. Pretty soon you won't even have to leave your house to get them. I'm sure Walmart will deliver to your house and then open your mac and cheese and cook them for you too. So I feel like it's the same thing. They're just to the parking lot now, but they're going to get to your house. Mark my words. Mac and cheese ice cream, wasn't
it? that impersonalization of everything.
Right. Really, so that's what I'm getting at. Yeah. I mean, it pushes everything back.
It's a big factor.
It is. I mean, there's a lot of people nowadays like that I find that you can have a totally normal conversation with them on text or some kind of instant messaging, but if we're sitting here talking like we are, it's like really kind of awkward because they can't look you in the eye and talk and just carry on a conversation in person. Like we're kind of headed towards a bizarre world.
Pivoting here, a question I had for everyone, just something I was thinking about, something I struggle with is that a desperation mentality, and it's like, oh no, like life is moving on without me, and like everything's like, and I kind of have these panic moments where I'm like, man, I'm gonna be single forever, man.
And
I
get like 21.
I know,
right?
exactly.
Yeah,
so
you've not made it that far.
I lose perspective really quick.
Yeah.
And I think in times of desperation we make bad decisions.
That's true.
And so for me, I always have to be like very cautious. I'm like, nope, like I'm in a happy spot right now. Actually, God has me exactly where He wants me.
Yeah.
Caleb, I wanted to ask, like, what are your guys' like? Does anybody here have any thoughts on how they? I don't know.
Like the word, time's passing.
Yeah. How do you like work through that?
Caleb, I was in the same boat. I very much expected to be married really early. Like when I first went to college, I thought, I'll be married probably in the next year or two. Like I very much planned that that's what's going to happen, and then the Lord didn't provide for me. And God has wisdom for why He, allows these things to unfold in these ways, and He's sanctifying me through it. And what I'm realizing now is, as I'm growing older, I hear of so many godly men who talk about the virtues of marriage and getting married early. And I think that's wonderful. Like that's a wonderful thing. And a part of me is a little insecure as I'm now approaching like my 30s. That's like, like, am I like, will I be sore? Will I be an old person with like a kid?
Yeah. Dude, no,
will I be like Abraham and Sarah?
That's real. That's real.
The struggle's real.
It is. It might sound silly, but I have a slight insecurity about that. Yeah. But nonetheless, I do trust that God is wiser than I am, and that He dictates all things and orchestrates them for my good and for His glory. So,
it's such a good.
It's a good question, Caleb.
Yeah, I think that I grew up with hearing the story of how my mom and dad met and how they got married and everything, and it's a beautiful story. It's a great story. I've heard it hundreds of times. I
he
love
had
it.
the mullet. Yeah. Just kidding.
She had the bangs.
The bell bottoms.
The bangs were big.
I think she probably did.
She totally did.
But I think I grew up hearing that story and being like, that's what's going to happen for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to college.
Dude,
and
that's
meet
interesting.
somebody.
Right.
And this is what, and then it didn't. And it felt very much like
no plan B.
well, how else do Christians get married if they don't get married at Christian
I must
college?
not be a Christian.
It was very discouraging for me because my life, like this has been the Lord working in my life so much. I get caught in the cycle of like keeping my life on a timeline. Like I have a vision for where I want to be, and then when I don't get there, it wrecks me.
Yeah,
like it feels like, what happened, Lord? You totally let me down on that.
Right.
Like I'm 24. It feels like I should be married by now.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm sure obviously all you guys feel that way too. Like, in some ways, at a moment you're like
24.
In some ways, what would it be like to be 24 again?
Yeah. 24 was a good year.
I mean, that's a awesome question, Caleb, that you bring up about feeling like the world's passing you by, or feeling like, everybody's getting married but me, whatever the case may be. And,
Yeah.
you know, I am almost 31 and I can't believe time flies by like
Man.
you wouldn't
You
believe.
age like a fine
Dude,
wine.
right? I get better with time. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Shoot, I'm not.
Yeah.
You get 10 dirt
I'm not
bikes.
Don't even
worried
think
about
about
playing
it.
with a kid if I'm
Exactly.
60 because by then I'll be real good. No, what I'm saying is like I think Preston hit the nail on the head. Is that you have to keep kind of your focus and perspectives right, and just realize that like we're not on a time restriction with like our plans. You know what I'm saying? Like Preston said, it was his will that he was going to be married in a year or two, but it wasn't God's will.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for me, I had kind of a similar story at the beginning of my life with what Andrew said about like I knew how my parents met and everything, and like that's crazy. You meet in high school and you're married at 18 and you're just married ever since. Like awesome. So it's like when I was in high school, it's like, yeah, that's not gonna happen for me, right?
Mhm.
And I say that because I kind of had a little bit different of a childhood as far as I was fortunate enough to be the fourth kid in a family of 5 kids, and I got to see like A, B, and C did this, and this. I think I'm going to do like my own thing and see what the other side of life is going to be like. And so it allowed me to see a lot of good and bad and learn like things to try to emulate and things to try to stay away from.
Yeah.
And so I kind of just saw a lot of things at a young age and I was like, well, I'm not even going to like worry about it. I'm just going to see what God has in store for me.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to try to, you know, at that time, it really wasn't a heartfelt, sincere, like Christian, like
Christian virtues.
yes, yeah. It wasn't like a Christian
We're gonna
quest
honor
I
the
was
Lord
on.
and sing it. Yeah.
It was more of a selfish kind of a thing. But I feel like we have to keep that perspective of what is Christ wanting me to do with my life here, right now. Not getting caught up in thinking about the what could be's or what could have been's, because you can't change the past now and you don't control the future as far as you can see. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just feel like for me, that's what I had to learn, because I kind of like Preston, I went off to school and there was a girl that I thought this is it. Like I was going to be married before I came back to Wyoming, you know, and God just had a completely 180 degree different idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like that was like devastating to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I realized like I was just focused on women, on getting a wife and getting a good and godly wife, but I didn't really care about the good and godly part at that point, other than I knew like I had to be in good graces with my parents,
Yeah,
right?
your mama knows.
So
that, yeah.
my whole entire ethos and theory was wrong in what I was doing, but it took that to make me realize, whoa, I need to figure out that good and godly thing myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I need to find out what I needed to become a Christian was the bottom line.
Yeah.
And God used all that kind of stuff to really grow me and mature me.
Yeah.
And I just think you can never lose hope and you can never lose sight of what really matters. And, you know, if we have that eternal perspective, like that's what I'm literally living for. Like, yes, these things here on earth matter to a point, but everything is a light and momentary affliction. Even if it's your singleness and you're waiting, like, that is a big deal and it's important, but it's not the most important.
Yeah.
That's such a good point, Aaron. The thing that stood out to me so much about what you said is like there can be so many people that seem right in our own eyes, and I'm reminded of the garden, and you know, oh no,
Wait,
Where?
Which garden?
and that whole idea of, you know, looking at the fruit and it being right in Eve's eyes.
Yeah.
And I think that I've had plenty of girls that I've known, women that I've known that are wonderful, godly people, and they seemed right in my eyes. And it's been something where I go to the Lord in prayer, and I know I don't want to say like I haven't heard the Lord speak to me audibly, but it's weird that in those times of praying about finding a wife specifically, that's when I feel like the most conviction and the most direct no's
Intervention.
in my Christian prayer life is when it's like, Lord, is this somebody you want me to pursue?
Yeah.
Because that's my honest heart, my honest prayer before God is I just don't want to chase after someone that's right in my own eyes and not God's choice for me.
Absolutely.
And so that prayer has been the most like effective one for me.
Dude.
And I'm so thankful for that because I'm sure the Lord has spared me so much. Like what you're talking about.
No, that's good.
Yeah. I've always heard it said that, and I think this is incredible advice, and it's helpful from just from a personal, like, self-contemplating perspective, like, I want to try to be the kind of spouse that I'd want to marry.
Yeah.
That's
like
good.
being
Wow.
the kind of sanctified person whose motives and perspectives that I would want to see resembled within my spouse. Like, I want to be that to
That is good.
to some future woman. And so I don't need to think to myself then, if that's how I'm going to live my life, I don't need to think to myself like, oh, is she the one? Oh, is she the one? Rather, it's me learning that I need to be sanctified in these areas of sin, and I need to put to death what is earthly in me. And then if a woman happens to like, if a woman comes and she is God's right choice for me, then all glory be to him. But it
Amen.
wasn't because I went seeking because I need a wife to be happy sort of thing.
That's
Yeah.
well
Yeah.
said.
It was I'm being sanctified and transformed into the likeness of Christ, and I'm satisfied in him alone. And if God grants me a wife, he grants me a good thing, like it
Absolutely.
says in
Yeah.
Proverbs.
Yeah.
But ultimately, he's the better thing.
Right.
You talked about a garden. So, what's interesting, the whole really like poetic story of the book of Songs, the Song of Solomon, is it's a portrait of a garden and a spouse and a wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a marriage bed.
Oh.
But but those themes of like,
That sounded so weird.
we joke of it. Sorry,
Yeah.
it's an inside
It's
joke.
an inside joke.
It's an inside joke. Sorry, but the portrait is that you have a man and his wife in a garden, and the woman is a tree of life, as it were, to her husband, and vice versa. And obviously, if we are tracing the theme of gardens, we understand that a garden has a particular portrait in Scripture, and the point of, I think, the book of Song of Solomon, isn't that garden is its own end. At the end of the book, there's a new tree. There's a tree of life there. And so the point of the book is to ultimately point to a different garden. And so when you consider the themes of like consummation and of marriage, those things, as Paul said, and we alluded to earlier, they point to Christ and us being united and married to him. And that's the future grace that we look forward
That's
to.
right.
And we picture it in a shadowy way in marriage now.
Yeah.
And so what's interesting to me as I think about that, marriage might appear to be the most excellent thing in the universe for many people. And it is a wonderful godly thing, but it's ultimately itself a shadow.
Yeah. That's true.
We will be more united to Christ than we will be to our spouse.
That's right.
We will be in
That's
closer
wild.
fellowship with him, and we will never be dissatisfied.
Right.
And because of the future union with Christ in the new and better garden, the New Jerusalem. So keeping that perspective, I think, really does keep me grounded as I'm addressing this, this issue.
Wow.
And I
That's a
think
complex thing
theologically-
that you can't just like tell people like off the cuff or on the street, like, or especially like people that aren't believers anyway, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's a hard thing to get people to realize, like, I am like you're saying how Garrett was like, just really gonna pray for you, man, because you have this issue, you know what I mean? And it's like, I'm totally fine. Like, I don't have an issue, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
people can't understand why that is,
Yeah.
short of the gospel. And that's one thing that I found is kind of crazy when you genuinely seek that, like you're explaining, and you genuinely seek, like, I want a woman to be my wife someday, should it work out, the fact that we will honor and glorify Christ better together than we do apart. But if that's not the case, then I'm totally good being alone. Like,
you will still get the better
yes,
thing in the end.
Yes. And it's like most people are like, God, that sounds good in church. Like, okay, cool. But really? No, like, really, I believe that, And it's kind of hard to get.
Yeah.
Well said.
And
Well said.
some people do have that view of, singleness is sickness,
Yeah.
and it's a false view. And honestly, like what your view on it should you view on it, whether you view it as oh wow, this is a season I'm in, or this is actually something I don't want to be in the season of singleness. I'd like to get out, but this is where God has me. Either way, we're called to thrive.
Yeah.
In it.
Yeah. Like you're still called to further see Christ as far more glorious, whether you're single or whether you're married.
Yeah.
The end goal is still the same.
Yeah.
It's these. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well
I
said.
think, and I think what's encouraging too is I know we're a bunch of guys talking about this stuff. Is also that I'm looking for, and I'm anticipating meeting a godly woman who's in this same situation,
In the same thought vein that we've been describing,
that she is waking up every day and being like, I'd like to be married, but I'm not. And so I'm going to live my life married to Christ.
Yeah.
And in that
anticipating that future,
and like,
marriage,
like exactly,
so,
unashamed and confident in that singleness.
And so that's encouraging to me because I feel like I don't feel like God has blessed me with that celibate ability, and I feel like the Lord has given me this desire, and I trust in Him to fulfill me, whether that be through Anyways, I'm excited, and I'm encouraged to know that the person that God has for me is going to be having this same thing.
That's well said.
And I'm not alone. Like this person exists.
And that's I like what you're kind of hitting on there is like it applies to us and it applies to any single woman out there same boat. Like when you're in that same kind of thought process, like what we've been talking about, and keeping Christ as your focus, and marriage isn't the end all be all, but it's a desire of your heart. Like, but don't be desperate. Don't be like downtrodden, like you're this outcast. Like you're not. You know what I'm saying? That's not what the end goal objective was.
I wouldn't want my future wife to be living that way.
That desperate is dangerous.
And it's dangerous.
It's when you make bad decisions.
Yeah.
When you're
100%.
desperate for something, it's when you settle for something less than what God has decided for you.
You worship it.
It's when when you worship it, and so it's a very bad place to be defaulting. Well, we should be finding our happiness in Christ first.
Well said.
Yeah, first
shouldn't have desperateness.
Wow, well said.
Good
stuff.
Beautiful.
Good stuff.
I feel so much better now, guys.
Dude.
It's like a therapy session.
Dude.
Now that's good stuff. It's not easy though, as we know, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not, I don't know that it's ever been easy. I think God just has different plans for different people, but I mean, you just have to be cognizant of all the danger traps out there. Like you're talking about, we need to be focused on where our focus needs to be and going into things sober minded and not getting caught up in the fleshly desires and in the time is passing me by thing and all that kind of stuff, because that leads you to places you don't want to be. Now, I just think about the verses that Paul speaks to again in 2 Corinthians 6:14 is about being not yoked with unbelievers and all that whole road, that if we are so yearning for the thing and not the glory of God, then it starts to become this easy thing where it's like, I can rationalize that, or I can justify this or that. I can settle.
Both salt and fresh water can come out of this spring. I think.
Hey, well, she'll change, right? Or whatever. I mean, that becomes a dangerous
for sure
thing too. And I think like, me and Preston are these old timers in the room right now, and it becomes it becomes more of an apt thing that as time goes on, you start thinking, but no, I say no. Like I reject that. Like, nope, get behind me, Satan style. Like, no. I'm not settling. I'm not lowering the standard. I'm not lowering. I'm not changing my perspectives. Like, no, I will wait on the Lord.
Yeah.
And He will provide.
I don't think it's a virtuous thing to then settle for something that you're disinterested in. I think actually there is a very important aspect to like things like attraction and things like godly perspective and being yoked, not just unbeliever and believer, but even being yoked on like a theological basis too. Like I would find there's a lot of, I think, practical problems if you have very stark theological disagreements that don't wisely line up. And
imagine if she's like, if you're like, let's say you're very much so convinced that your kids will be homeschooled, and she's like, oh no, I wanted to work a job. And suddenly you're like, she's like, that's the way it is. And so there's a lot of people who come to those differences and then they marry anyway, and they marry someone for their potential. They're like, oh, well, they could change on this thing.
I think actually a big thing,
and
too,
we can't marry on potential. We can't do that.
Financial views is really a big thing. Like
it's a
political thinking,
big time. I mean, and especially nowadays, as our whole society's been just ramped up. Dude, I was just thinking about this. Like, everything is so politicized now. Where like everything is. I was just thinking, even like some of the like Disney Channel stuff that used to come out when we were growing up, like some of the movies. Like now it's just totally different. Like everything's got such pointedness to it. And so like, but obviously you need to know what you believe, but I mean, especially going into something like that, you can't overlook some major differences in any kind of ideology or
and not to say we're gonna find someone who is us,
a carbon copy, right?
I hope that I find someone who's iron sharpening iron.
Exactly. I like
who's
that.
gonna be of the same vein and the same heart before God.
That's right.
And so
Yeah, and you want to be challenged too by that person.
Yeah.
You don't want to you don't want to be in this like feedback loop of they're like, yes, I agree with everything you say.
Right.
It's like, no, you want them
Your
to
own
have
person. Yeah.
their own
Yeah.
decided views on God and how the world works, right? And so I just think that even having it if somebody is different, that's actually like, ooh, like they think something different. Like, and if it's obviously a bigger issue, like salvation wise, then
I think
Like they don't believe in the deity of Christ.
then we've got some.
Then we've got problems.
Then we've got big problems.
Oh, that's right.
No, that's good.
I love this. Yeah, I think the big thing I'm getting out of this is like this whole. I love what we've been talking about as far as finding Christ to be what is most satisfying to us.
Amen.
And to find our ultimate happiness already.
Yeah.
Like now, we're not waiting to be happy
Yeah,
one day.
you're not waiting to be happy one day.
Yeah.
That is so well said.
We can be just as happy today, because if we're not actually, that's actually going to be an issue.
And that's an indicator.
You're not going to be happy afterwards.
That's right.
If you're not happy now.
Yeah.
So
said.
I do want to encourage every single person, lady and guy that is listening.
And is single.
Yes.
If you would like to apply, you can email us feedback@shadowcastradio.com.
And tell us how satisfied in Christ you are.
And then in the description, write,
On a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you in Christ?
How is singleness suiting you so far?
So Caleb is open to some emails if you want to send those our way.
If you want to send some emails, my email is
Hey, babe, if you're listening.
Hey, babe, babe, could you bring
great
buy some
day.
milk
just
and a wedding ring?
Just be sure you
Read your
email
Bible.
Caleb.
Read your Bible.
just email Caleb. Yeah, or my number is not good.
I feel like the
What's
longer
a
that
song?
we're waiting and being sanctified, that's the deeper our value of this is going to be,
Yeah.
right? Like it
Yeah.
doesn't lower the value, but it increases the value. And so, like you were talking about these people that get married real young, and I've seen a lot of that, and have a lot of buddies and people that have been married real young, and I have nothing against that. But I just know, like, I have so much of a different view of what my wife would be and how I would value her now, knowing how it is to live this long by myself and do everything by myself. That I feel like what a cool value is placed on that. And so, although I am excited for that day, if God's will that it happens, I'm going to have so much more of an understanding of an understanding of what it really means. And I feel like I want to be able to take that time that I was waiting and make it a time where when I do get married, it's like I have so much respect and admiration and value to that marriage that I do the very best that I can because I have a reason to be so thankful for it.
Yeah, you have a really great perspective.
It's like a
heading
treasure
into
that
it.
gets more valuable with time.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's the same way with our walk with Christ as we're getting closer to sanctification. Think about how weird it'd be if you were instantly up in heaven the second you accept the Lord as your Savior. Think how cheap that salvation is at that point, where we go through all these times, and we've been going through our living hope in the small group studies with church, and it's so cool last night just to see that the longer you wait, like that hope begets more hope. And as you lean on the promises and have to go through trials, those promises in the Bible become your promises. And it's like,
Christ becomes more.
and so he's growing you into
treasure,
maturity so that the day that you do get deposited on his doorstep, so to speak, that's a valuable thing at that point.
Wow.
I just think there's so much value in waiting,
That's rich.
even though it's hard.
Well said. Well said.
Oh, it's beautiful.
All right.
I'm gonna land this. I'm gonna land this plane.
Land the
Here we go.
Come on, Owen.
Oh man,
I tried to set
this
you up
has
for the
been
landing.
so good. I love hanging out with you guys. We're gonna have to do this again sometime.
Yeah, way fun.
But next week we will have Nathan and Owen back in the studio with Preston discussing something amazing, I'm sure.
Any little spoiler alerts, Preston? Any ideas? Anything to get us on the edge of our seats?
To be released. TBR.
I am looking at this guest list on the whiteboard, and it's looking stacked.
We might. Yeah, we got some.
Does that say Donald Trump up there?
Yes, Donald Trump.
That's a
the
confirmed
one true
guess.
president.
You can only find out by tuning in next week
2
after
weeks.
next.
In 2 weeks. You've been listening to Shadowcast Radio. Hopefully, we've been pointing you to Christ. Be encouraged. Honor Christ with the entirety of your heart. And whatever you eat or drink or whatever you do it all to the glory of the Lord. God bless, guys.
Good night.
Amen.
Send us a message at feedback@shadowcastradio.com.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Check us out at shadowcastradio.com.